Hello, hello everyone. We are live. It is Umbra Coffee. We are episode 39. I think it's 39.
You needed to check, right?
I needed to check. We have the wonderful Ravi here with his Ravi-sized mug as well. It's actually an espresso mug, he's told us. But if you hold it really close to the camera, it looks big.
Yeah, let me show it.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it's all about perception. All about perception. Hi, Ravi. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm well, thank you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thanks for being with us. I think we can start, right? We had a very busy week. All of as well as usual, a lot of things happened. We want to start from the new release, right? Because we've been discussing some of the issues last week about multi-node tree picker, and I probably didn't receive more messages about any issue earlier. Like it was in this week. A lot of friends contacted me and asked if we dealt with it and if it's still occurring, how we fix it. But yeah, Umbraco fixed it, found a workaround. We've mentioned this thread last week. And on Tuesday, the version patch release 1 for 7.12 was released, and we can all be happy and use it. Yeah.
There are still a handful of ongoing issues which relate to the link picker, I believe, and
Yes.
People have been complaining a bit about that. It broke Meganav, one of my packages. It also broke multi-URL picker as well, which both rely on the link picker. So I think both me and Rasmus have both released versions of that this week that fixes it.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. And also, as probably right now from the couple weeks back, we will have a mention about the Unicorner. The second episode went public on Monday, and it was about Latch. Yet another great episode, deep dive into the technology behind Latch itself. And we want to be talking more about Latch because we want to encourage you people to watch it if you missed it.
Yeah,
and
I've not seen this week. Niels normally teases with like what's coming up. I've not seen what's coming up for Monday.
Yeah.
So exciting.
He's keeping us on tenterhooks.
Maybe it's being recorded right now.
Possibly. I think he probably waits to see what news we say is interesting, and then he interviews someone related to that.
Yeah.
Ravi, be aware. And of course, we had also a massive discussion about nested content, and one of the pull requests being closed this week for support of disabled items in nested content, and it caused a long discussion. And we've been discussing this issue in one of the past Umbra coffees. I can't remember when it was, but we've been just encouraging people to share more opinions and ideas, and it becomes one of the most popular issues discussed on this chapter. And it's not right now closed. Guys, what's your opinion about it?
Callum, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go. I mean, so the thing I want to say first is we were discussing before we went on air, and Marcin and I have been discussing the past couple of days that as Umbra Coffee, we would quite like to remain as impartial as possible when it comes to these issues. We aren't here, and I said this on Twitter, I think, in the past week. We aren't here to tell the community what's good or what's bad. So this is just people. We want people to be able to share their views. I think the thing that this issue and this big discussion has highlighted is that maybe the issue tracker isn't the place for some of these discussions anymore. The issue tracker itself is quite a small representation of the community. It's potentially a bit of an echo chamber. But that maybe we need, I think it was said a few times in the thread, we need some other ways of sharing these ideas, or I want to work on something. How do I surface that? How do I get validation that my idea is good before I go ahead and make big changes? And I think that's also very much what HQ are saying on this as well, that we just need to validate a change before we go ahead and make it.
Yeah, Ravi, what do you think about this?
I sat there, I read through all of the posts, trying to get my head around what people were saying and where people were coming from. And at the end of it, I think I ended up just as confused as when I started. Because I sort of fell on both sides of the camp. In one sense, I completely understand. I love the idea of the feature. I like the idea it could be in core. But then there's the other part of me which is going, well, how do we know it's a valid thing, and then how does it do it? But then if you look at the history of nested content and how that came about, maybe what someone really needs to do is just go away and say, take a fork, add the feature, release it, and then see what happens.
This is something that's come up a couple of times over the past few months. I think even Shannon said, if you want to make a change to the CMS, but it's quite big, do it as a package first, validate it, check that it's going to be needed and used. The evidence that something is like proving that it's a needed feature is in a package being downloaded a lot and used a lot.
But also, when we were talking during the Code Garden or retreat, we've been talking a lot about issue-driven development. So not starting, I don't know, developing a big new CMS and then just putting it around people and saying that it's better or worse or different. And we had a lot of discussions on our before even writing a single line of code about other features. And that's the way how it should be. And we've been discussing it internally as well, that it's not only about developers, and that's why we also named this episode about that it's all about people, because we need to hear all of the voices. And personally, I didn't use nested content this way never before in the past. And I should, if I would do this maybe in other way or create the fork, as you've mentioned, guys. But yeah, it's still up to people. And I think that this discussion just proved that there is a lot of opinions, and all opinions are heard, and all actions were made. And yeah, we should just carry on, right?
Yeah, I think the specific outcome of this was, well, everyone that has participated in it, there's going to be some extension points. The things that you want to create should be possible, will be possible. If they aren't possible, make a pull request to the core to make them possible. HQ and the community want to support people building cool things for Umbraco. It's supposed to be extendable, but it doesn't mean that the core needs to be this all singing, all dancing, does absolutely everything you could ever want thing. And that's the beauty of it. The reason nested content itself started as a package. It started as this idea that was then going to be brought into the core because it was so popular. And I think this is just a prime case of proving that you can build something, check its worth, and then make other decisions. And Marcin, you're sharing your screen on something really, really cool.
But I didn't point at it yet.
I was going to say one follow-up to that is, I think the fact that there is a big extended discussion like this is a good sign that the community is actually growing wider and trying to participate more in a channeled way, rather than it sort of firing off in different directions, which I think is a good thing. But yes, ultimately it's a case of, well, now it's up to someone to go take up the banner and then say, well, I'll fork it and then do something, and then we'll come back around to it.
Yeah, and speaking about it, because I was very curious when it will be popped out and released, something like this. And Rasmus, which was mentioned by Callum even earlier during this episode, shared their code, which was created for probably one of their clients. I can't remember the exact history behind it. And it's called embedded content, and exactly has some kind of legacy archetype features combined into separated package and property editor, which looks really great, I think.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. I didn't know this thing existed, and I went away last night thinking, hey, yeah, that'd be a really good idea. A way of kind of like embedding a doc type in, and maybe even having ability to switch the content around, having all of the functions that a document normally does. It exists. Someone's built it 3 years ago. It's awesome.
No, a year ago.
Well, I was going to say, but then that then sort of goes back to I think what the guys at Scrift are doing with promoting packages has actually been a really good thing, because sometimes something like this would get lost in the past in the list of, or in what's out there, because people don't always know where to look. And let's face it, while it does say what it is on the tin, Umbraco embedded content, you may not instantly go, oh, that's what I need, until you look at the pictures and go, ooh, that is what I need.
Exactly. But also, we as developers all think about this from the developer's side. It's very easy for us to go, oh, there's this great package that does this and this and this, and we install it, but our editors don't really know any different. They just care about the functionality. So it's our responsibility to make sure that we get the best functionality into the CMS for our users. And that may be the best way to do that, maybe as a package, which I think is a nice segue onto some new releases this week, right? We've mentioned that there was already a Meganav and a RJP link picker, multi-URL picker, but there's been more. We've had James Sad's been busy.
He's always busy.
With some performance improvements, and James shared some benchmarks, screenshots on the Slack community channel. So feel free to go there and check them. It has a lot of performance improvements inside of this small or not so small release. We had the Translation Manager 2.0 and 2.01 with patch release of some fixes.
I saw someone on Twitter say a super nice release and that it looks super stable. So I think everyone's really impressed with this package at the moment.
Yeah, it's. I think in many ways that's probably one of the benchmark packages people looking at it saying, "Wow, that's a package."
Yeah, and also another one from Kevin, but not released so often, the starter kit, which he demoed on the Code Garden. I'm still amazed about the structure of it, the code written there, and all the functionalities. It's a good example, and open source is so amazing to just dive into someone else's code and to learn, because we can all learn a lot from those packages. Same as from Plumber, which is yet another great package built by Nathan. And Nathan released some kind of new version with some fixes for 0.9 version this week. And Cobham Digital released new version of Umbraco member list view, which is also another great property editor and member management section back office.
I've got to say, Umbraco member list view is the closest iteration of getting close to what Jeffrey Schoemaker mentioned in his massive, 3,000 word post about 2 years ago about improving the member section. Yep. I've used MemberList. It's made loads of my clients very happy in terms of just the simple things like the export function and making that easier for them. It's, thank you, Cobham.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that we can also jump from here to one of the next topics, because Nathan, which we mentioned earlier, is also looking for some feedback from package developers. And I think if in relation to our discussion about community, about help, about developers, about people, and not only those who are constantly developing new packages, maybe some other new fresh voices, I would like to combine this knowledge, because I'm really curious about other people's approach. So feel free to put your 2 cents into this discussion. And if you manage backwards compatibility, I've seen, Callum, you've been sharing your thoughts.
Kelleher and I jumped in and shared our thoughts. I mean, I've said I always try and support as far back as possible, because we don't want to really alienate any potential users of a system. It's a bit of a pain if you have to upgrade your site just to use a package or use the latest version of a package. So kind of as far back as possible, up to within technical possibility. So there's things I rely on in 7.4 in Meganav, so I'm on 7.4. But I said at some point I'm going to have to jump to 7.6, but everyone was kind of saying that's a really long way back to be supporting things. Yeah. So I don't know. It'd be a really interesting discussion for the whole community to see if there's maybe a standardized decision that we could make. I know Google have done the whole, we do +-1 versions of browsers that we're going to support. We could maybe do the same thing with Umbraco, given that we're kind of upgrading a bit more regularly now. We've got cloud that automatically upgrades too.
Oh, I have another amazing idea. Do you know the site howcaniuse.com?
Yeah.
Something like that? It would be nice to see something like that for Umbraco. Can we use something?
Actually, might have sent tiny parts of my Twitter conversation about logging within packages, and because I saw someone had written a note saying, I've done something, or one of my users has deleted or removed a package which we used to have, but I don't really have records of it. And it just got me thinking, what are the kind of sample or simple package actions people should be doing or logging? But then, given what you've just said, maybe that's something to promote on Twitter. On the documentation. So packages, and then trying to have a moving conversation in the documentation on, you should log this or you should log that versus other actions you should do, so that when people have confidence in when they install or uninstall a package, they know who's done it, when it was done, and what files were affected, things like that. But I think that's a perfect place to put a placeholder for, say, documentation. So you go into so people who are new to this have a bit more confidence about what they're using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen health checks, for example, checking comparison versions of the libraries used by some packages, and they were installed together with the package, for example, and they were detecting collisions between versions of libraries, for example, which is also great. We should definitely do more things like that. And Callum, I know that some people submitted a pull request for Meganav, which was fixing some kind of compatibility issue as well, right?
No, there was some issues raised, which I then fixed. There was also some pull requests merged in this week for an upcoming release, which I've been meaning to get around to, but there's some multilingual stuff coming with some multilingual stuff coming, some bug fixes. I've been kind of catching up on the on my issues on my package.
Yeah, and if we're talking about pull requests, maybe let's share the public big high five for a new Umbraco contributor whose pull request was merged this week.
This pull request was done actually as part of the a hackathon that they held just before the Umbraco DK barbecue. And he'd been using Umbraco for 2 days or something.
Yeah, something like that. And first pull request merge, I presume that batch on our forum is also applied. Big high five, Radu, and we are all more than sure that this is just the beginning, right? The fun is just starting. And as a segue from here, let's maybe chat about what we can do in the following days and the next week. Callum, I know that you, Ravi, I presume you will be there too today?
I will be there later today at some point, yes.
So the barbecue is coming back to London today, and hopefully the weather's going to stay nice. It's nice right now. A little bit chilly, but...
This is from the last year, right?
Yeah, this is from last year's barbecue on the Cogworks roof, and we're going to a pub this year instead. But there was I did a blog for Umbraco HQ just on what the barbecue is, how you should get involved, and all of that sort of stuff. So there's pictures from the previous events. We had a fantastic event last week in Denmark. Big thanks to Jan and Display for hosting that, and some great food. And then there's also a few coming up. So London is happening tonight, and there's a Manchester one happening in 2 weeks, 7th of September. And I think there's about 2 spaces left. So if you're wanting to come, sign up quickly.
2 sausages left.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, cool. You can visit the Umbraco Barbecue website with the full schedule of events coming. And in topic of events, tomorrow we have a second Umbraco virtual meetup.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone. Oh yeah, and someone is already confirmed. Emma will talk about talking. We'll see what's that, and Sebastian will tell us more about the pull request team update, which is.
I'm also going to be presenting something quickly for 5 or so minutes. I am actually going to be on holiday, but providing my internet connection's all good, I'm going to dial in and I'm going to share something.
Oh, I will be on another barbecue, not Umbraco related, but I will dial in to see that then. And we have some other meetups coming. We had a Glasgow meetup this week, by the way. From what I noticed,
and a New York meetup with Andrew. He did a talk on cloud.
Yes, headless. I think
headless.
That's good.
The name was Headless in the Cloud. I think it was called or something.
And from the Umbraco side, there were 2 new blog posts released, and one of them was I added in a testimonial about Umbraco Cloud, which is another interesting point of view of using cloud by some other fellow developers, and one another description of the new team member in Umbraco HQ, which is Christian in this case, and great story behind another amazing person in the team. And yeah, that's from a short list of my things.
Anyone else mistake the last part of his name for Guid?
Yes, I was just looking at this.
Or was that just me?
I was just looking at this.
He's really taking it really far.
Yes, I did too. I thought it was Guid.
I just realized it. And Mike Macy saying that he also thought that this is a good. Nice. And yeah, Umbraco HQ is growing. We probably won't have enough Umbra Coffee episodes to cover all of those new hires. But Niels also mentioned during the week that the company is not for sale, which was a really interesting message to see, especially from the entrepreneur perspective. It means, from my opinion, that Umbraco is really valuable on the market, because if people are really interested in buying Umbraco, and it's not the first offer, it means that it means something for the business as well.
Yeah. His tweet about this said that he gets these kind of emails every month as well, which is really awesome to hear, because it just kind of exemplifies all of the fantastic work that HQ have been doing the past few years.
Yep. And let me just share my screen. We have this news. This is the tweet which you've mentioned, by the way. Yeah. And yet another jump to the past, because at some point we wanted to invite someone from the WordPress world here to Umbra Coffee to discuss this Gutenberg editor. And Callum, I know that you've been doing some kind of research around it. Ravi, I don't know if you played with WordPress.
I have used WordPress in the past. Oh, sorry, I was just feeling a bit ill.
So you didn't use the Gutenberg editor, right?
I haven't used the Gutenberg editor. I have used an original Gutenberg press in the past.
Ooh. So I will admit, done quite a bit of WordPress.
Not an actual
development.
Not an actual like £100,000 Gutenberg.
So I have done quite a bit of WordPress development. So this is a topic that really interests me. It's something that I think they've actually put a lot of time into, the Gutenberg editor. It's a new editing experience, kind of like a cross between the Grid and a rich text editor. And the community is very divided on it. And I was thinking that Umbra Coffee, it would be great to get someone on that has not, that uses WordPress and has experience with the Gutenberg editor, to maybe just share in a very impartial way exactly what it is, what it does, and we can maybe see if we can take any lessons from it to improve the Umbraco CMS as well.
Yeah, and also I've seen a tweet today from Jaron, who was really known in our Umbraco community. He still is known, by the way. But he stepped out for doing some kind of work for another big CMS, starting from a letter S. And he mentioned that there's a lot of features there as well, which can be, I don't know, translated, transformed, moved to the package. And I think that it will be a very interesting discussion if we'll have some kind of, I don't know, representatives from different CMS ecosystems, and just discuss what can everyone learn from each other.
Well, it's something we've done at the Umbraco London meetups in the past.
We did it in Bristol too.
So it was about 3 months ago now. We got someone in to talk Sitecore and demo and the other one. But it actually provoked quite a lot of interesting discussion about where we sit in the landscape, selling, and also features and types of things we could take away and say, that's an interesting idea. Why aren't we doing it? Is there a package there? So I know some people went away sort of going, I'll have a little think about that. Whether or not that's turned into anything, because some of these are obviously bigger ideas, so they need more time to sort of fill out. But yeah, we're keen to sort of get other people in, and we're still working on it. So if you work with something else and want to talk about it, contact myself, Callum, or Lottie. We'll find a slot,
or find us or anyone else on the festivals which are coming. And I think as a closing for this episode, we can just mention that some of the festivals released more information about their plans.
Including a very cryptic tweet from Henk this morning.
Yeah.
I missed this.
Oh, look, there's some familiar faces on that agenda.
He publicly asked if DWA will perform at the festival. So as you can see, there's some new faces released for the festival, which will take place in Netherlands in October, and we will be there doing a festival live Umbra Coffee for sure.
Definitely.
And so see you there, or maybe on other festivals. And also Sweden festival released some more information, and if I'm correct, tickets are on sale right now. Yes,
they are.
And I can also highly recommend this festival. I was there on the first edition, and it was amazing. And if not only there will be so many great events on our map and in calendar in the end of the year, I would probably visit all of them.
I agree, and I've also heard some rumors that there might be some Umbra coffees coming from quite a lot of the events coming up for the rest of the year. We've got Poland Festival happening in like a few weeks, and
God, is it? Yes,
US Fest, which Ravi you're going to.
Hopefully, yes. Knock on wood. I've just got to confirm details and things.
Yeah. And then UK Fest is coming. We've got the DK Fest and the Sweden Fest as well. We'll try and get Umbra Coffee at as many of those as we possibly can. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, hint, hint.
And of course, ping us if you want to hire us and do Umbra Coffee from your location. We are up to any cooperation with all of you companies here. So, yeah, you can always buy us a coffee. I have a new one because I ruined my laptop, smartphone, monitor, desk, wall, and carpet today before going live here.
That's the commitment to Umbra Coffee that you put in.
This is a spilled Umbra Coffee. And Ravi, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great rest of the day. And what we can wish for some of our community members, Jan is having a wedding tomorrow, right?
Jan's getting married tomorrow. Yeah. And he's been preparing a barbecue and a wedding at the same time, which is
yes, we can,
no small feat.
That's why he avoided being a participant here in Umbra Coffee.
Yeah.
Well, we can also say, I think it's just over a week away. One of the Umbraco London members, Andy Hawken, is also getting married. And there is rumours of that the Umbraco cufflinks are trying to make appearances at 2 weddings.
I saw this, and Niels even tweeted next year we promise to make some more unisex cufflinks so that they can be as a bingo prize.
Nice.
And actually, Niels had
it all started from Niels's anniversary,
15th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
So
great.
Yes, congratulations.
Yep, congrats. Okay, guys, that's all. I think.
I think so.
Let's go back to work. Enjoy the rest of the day, and Callum, enjoy your holiday.
Thank you. I will.
I will be alone next week.
See you later, Callum.
See you later, Ravi. See you guys. Cheers.
Bye guys.